high-powered handguns. It doesn't stop any of this. The AR-15, like rifles, 3% of murders are committed with rifles. The AR-15 is a small subset of this, which leads me to my second point. When we ban the AR-15, if God forbid they do that, do you think murders will stop? No. Will there be a marked decrease? No. The math shows that will not be the case. So when that doesn't work, when the AR-15 ban does not produce the concomitant drop in murder rates, will the governments come back and the Democrats come back and say, wow, that didn't work. I guess gun control doesn't work. Nope. Then they'll go to the next class of weapon. They start with the AR-15 because most people don't own one. They start with the AR-15 because it's easy to make a case like that. It's so high powered. It has such muzzle velocity, or as Jay Inslee says, they're lethal. They're very, very lethal, as Jay Inslee says. So it's a straw to point at. It's a straw man to strike. The other reason I will not give up my AR-15 is because I know that giving it up is the first step to giving up more. Already in the new bill in Olympia. Already they're now calling out shotguns that they have decided have tactical qualities. What are the tactical qualities? Well, I guess we'll see when the language comes out. The other reason I will not give this up, and I want to talk to conservatives who are leaning this way, is that when we take this step, if God forbid we take the step on the AR-15, all the things I've said are true. All the things I've said are true. It doesn't stop murders. It will not stop school shootings. It will not stop mass murders. The gun grabbers will not stop here. They will go after the next round of weapons. But here's the bigger issue. Go level up from guns. Okay, forget that we're talking about guns. The Second Amendment appears within the Bill of Rights, correct? The amendment above it, the First Amendment, and the amendment one below it, or two below it, the Fourth Amendment, those are abused all the time by child pornographers. They're abused to distribute child pornography, to make child pornography. The Fourth Amendment is abused by sex traffickers and human traffickers. The right against unreasonable search and seizure. We are also talking about our Bill of Rights. How sacrosanct is it? If I give up my AR-15, though I've never committed a crime with it, I never will, though I would never use it to murder somebody, if I give up my AR-15 in this hysteria, I'm also giving up on the Bill of Rights and its sacred nature. Here's what I mean. I'm now buying into a theory. When some lunatic abuses the Second Amendment, we need to shave the Second Amendment down. We need to strike parts of the Second Amendment, not go after the lunatic. That can be applied to the First Amendment. The First Amendment is being used by child pornographers. We need to restrict it. The Fourth Amendment is being used by sex traffickers. We need to restrict it. I will not feed into the theory that the response to bad people abusing our Bill of Rights is to do away with or to curtail those rights. I will not do that. That's why I will not consider giving up my AR-15 at any time. So I respectfully disagree with Brian Mast and others, people who are otherwise conservative, even considering it. When we come back on the Todd Herman Show, there's a new movie, and it's going to glorify an historical figure who is responsible, or at least his ideas were responsible, for maybe 1 billion people being killed. Nah, maybe 100 million, maybe 200 million, maybe 1 billion. Depends on how you want to count. The producer of this movie, the director of this movie, has an interesting viewpoint on where this guy belongs in history. So we'll get to that when we continue on the Todd Herman Show. Right now, we're about to check traffic with Right Way Traffic.
Crash just about cleaned up in Seattle. It's on the Mercer Street off-ramp from northbound I-5. That's why you're back about towards Albro Place. Stop and go out of Bellevue. We took a look at 405 southbound. Stop and go from Highway 520 out towards 44th Street. Well, this traffic report is brought to you by Swinomish Casino and Lodge. Swinomish Casino and Lodge is adding a brand new non-smoking area to give guests a more comfortable atmosphere. With updated slot technology, there's now more to explore at Swinomish Casino and Lodge. You're listening to AM 770 KTTH.
It's never been more important than now to listen to us.
The economy cannot grow like it is now when the Democrats are in control. Their policies are opposed to this kind of thing. They want government to grow. They believe fairness and equality result from the redistribution of income, not from the production of wealth. No, because they can't lay claim to it nor control it.
Rush Limbaugh, weekdays 9 to noon on AM 770 KTTH, Conservative Talk Radio.
Clear. And what this warning has further made clear is that we need 21st century laws to protect 21st century technology.
In a Seattle courtroom today, a mother faced the man accused of pouring gasoline on her son and lighting him on fire. Prosecutors say 31-year-old Christopher Burris spilled a big gulp cup with gas last November and used a flare gun to set Casey Bush on fire. Bush's mom tells Cairo 7 her son didn't want to be in court today.
He doesn't want to let Chris impact his life anymore. He's really moving on.
Burris is pleading not guilty to attempted murder. Speed and snow are being blamed for a semi-accident that shut down westbound I-90 for several hours this morning. Troopers say the trucker was speeding on the stretch between Cle Elum and Ellensburg when his rig took out a large portion of the guardrail. The interstate is back open now, but conditions are still slick, and drivers are being advised to be prepared to take it slow over the passes. A look at your drive now with Cairo Radio real-time traffic.
Well, the off-ramp to Mercer from northbound I-5 is still partially blocked with this wreck. You've got a lot of action that's happening in the Gore Point as well, and the backup extends from about the north edge of Boeing Field now towards that scene. You're also going to find that the rain really made a mess of things, especially getting across the lake, and that's why westbound 520 is lined up from Bellevue Way now all the way across the water and getting into the I-5 merge. If you're going from Seattle to Everett, you are going to find that drive to be about 45 minutes, according to DOT. I just got word from Sound Transit that Southline Sounder Train 1517 is still delayed. We're looking at delays on most of the Southline Sounder trains up to about a half an hour. Now, drivers in Tacoma are going to find the drive to be still quite slow, leaving Highway 18, working your way towards the Dome and the Valley Freeway. Some off and on crowding as you get out of Canton, leaving Highway 18. Oh, and the southbound 5 backup from about Northgate through downtown to the West Seattle Bridge, that's all due in part to some standing water that's taking up a couple of lanes. Traffic is brought to you by Phillips Law Firm. If you or a loved one have been injured in a car accident, call Phillips Law Firm today for a free case evaluation. Call 800-JUSTICE or visit justiceforyou.com. Cairo Radio Real-Time Traffic, I'm Tracy Taylor.
We'll have a few showers of rain in the lowlands and snow in the mountains tonight. That snow level at about 1,000 feet. Low temperatures starting off in Seattle in the upper 30s, highs in the mid-40s by afternoon. Breezes and some heavy lowland rain and heavy mountain snow. I'm Cairo 7 Chief Meteorologist Morgan Palmer.
42 degrees outside the Carter Subaru Studios now. I'm Kim Shepard.
Ron and Don's Top 5 Bet 5.
Number 3.
All right, Kim, thanks for that. Ron, you weren't here on Friday. About halfway through our show, something happened outside our building. We're here in East Lake in South Lake Union. Zach is here from the night show to tell you exactly what happened. And you may have heard of a young man by the name of Drew Barth. He's been on Dory's show for a number of months, and now he's the producer and also a great on-air talent on Zach's show. He's also your producer. Zach, what happened on Friday?
So he was, right out here, right in front of the window. He was crossing the street, and there was a car turning left, and a car behind him, but behind the car turning left, and it was just a freak incident. He didn't see the car behind the car turning left. The car didn't see him, so kind of darted in front of the vehicle turning left, and boom! As the truck went around him, struck Drew, and he had a head injury, and was immediately rushed to Harborview, and had surgery, and everything went swimmingly as well as it possibly could.
We should explain, he wasn't on a bike, he wasn't in another car.
No, he was walking. This is a pedestrian. Pedestrian
we've all
situation.
seen this move, probably done this move where you're someone's slowing down in front of you and you're like trying to boomerang around them.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if you know that area of East Lake, you see cars do that all the time.
Because there's a turn lane in the middle.
Yeah, exactly. So the driver feels terrible about it. It was totally an accident. Within probably an hour, he was from him being struck. He was on the table getting surgery. It really went as fortunate. The blow was as fortunate as possible if you're going to get hit by a car, because it did create some swelling, but all the swelling was external outside of the brain, so there was no actual bleeding with inside the brain. There was just pressure being applied to it, but because they got to him so quickly, the brain surgeons, they were very easily able to remove it. The surgery went way faster than I thought it. When I think surgery, I think 6 hours minimum. This was like 90 minutes. So by about 7:30 that night, the first surgeon came down, and obviously they can't say everything's going to be okay, but he came as close as you possibly can to saying everything's going to be okay. But at that point, and for about 36 hours after, Drew remained unconscious.
So I know you've been in contact with the family, so just tell me as much as you can when I hear traumatic head injury.
So the entire thing is him taking on, of course, the evil is given to the after effect, because it's the young Marx, it's the dreamer Marx, it's the thinker Marx, it's the writer Marx and Engel. It's their beautiful idea that he examines. He doesn't bother to examine what happens with the idea. He doesn't bother to understand what happens to the people. And the child labor he decries in this trailer, of course they do not examine the brutal child labor in the Soviet Union and the brutal starvation deaths of students and young people. This is going to do a Che Guevara bit. They don't present him as particularly sexy, but they present Marx as all heart. They present him as all justice. And because the film doesn't bother to delve into what happened, it once again breathes air back into the dead body of communism, trying to reanimate it. The interviewer, to the great credit,
for the fact that this happened just a couple days ago, and he's up and he's talking, he's having conversation, he's making jokes, he's thinking, and this is still without his skull cap, right?
Oh no, it's back on.
Oh, it is back on.
It's back on.
That's
It's
amazing.
So back on.
That's amazing that it's back on.
Yeah. So he doesn't look good, but he looks.
He's never looked good. He's never looked good though.
I was talking to his wife, and she goes, "I have to tell him that they shaved his head."
Yeah.
I was like, I knew he would be devastated, lost his hair.
He's kind of pulling it off. Think like 1987 era Michael Stipe. That's kind of what he looks like right now. So we're talking about his hospital experience, and he's just thinking of it as a horrible camping trip.
Yeah.
That's what he's going through right now. He's dirty. He smells bad. He's eating, not solid foods quite yet. But I don't know what the timeline's going to be. I don't know how long he's going to be there. But yeah, after again 4 days, and for him just to have woken up no more than 28 hours ago, for him to make this much progress is, incredibly heartening.
Any other broken bones? He's hit by a truck.
It's a weird thing, Ron. They seem reticent to tell us about the rest of his body, and I don't think it's because they're hiding any sort of information. Because initially they thought they needed a broken collarbone, but it turns out he broke his collarbone playing flag football about 15 years ago. So they thought, well, it might be just previous damage, and now they think it may be dislocated. But just watching him move around, because it's very painful either way, it doesn't seem to be aggravating him all that much. Yes, he's on pain medication for sure, but even then you would kind of grimace a little bit moving around on the bed. He's walking. It was. I'm thrilled that I got to see him and talk to him.
How are you feeling? Because you guys are friends, and that's your.
It was a rough weekend. Yeah, for sure. But after today, and his wife is just in such a much better place because clearly Drew's going to be back, as we all know him.
Excited.
Yeah.
There's a GoFundMe page. If you're a family member or you're a friend and you're just maybe you're just hearing about this and you want to be a part of something bigger than yourself, I just put this up on my personal Facebook page. This is Don O'Neill. Ron's going to put that Zach, you're probably going to put that up on your Facebook page too, right?
I put it up on Twitter, so if you go to Zach Burns Cairo FM, it's my pinned tweet. The outpouring of support has been tremendous. Please keep it coming. They're going to need your help.
Yeah, and even if you can't give $1, send a message, because I know these messages really matter to him. And I believe his wife her name is
Danielle.
Is Danielle, right? So anyway, keep Drew and Danielle in your heart. If you pray. If you release gratitude into the world, release gratitude. If you pray to Mother Earth, whatever it is, pray to Mother Earth for them. This is the Ron and Don Show on Khmer Radio. All right, Zach, thanks for that. Let's take the cars now, get everyone home tonight. This traffic report brought to you by the Oakland Casino. Here's Tracy.
Sounds as if we've got a wreck on westbound 90 as we approach Preston Falls City Road. This is from a recent hailstorm that went through the area. It's made the roads a little on the slicker side of things, too. So we're going to keep an eye on that, let you know if anything changes. But in the meantime, a lot of difficult traffic because of the weather, and that includes over on the east side, southbound 405 between 520 and into Newcastle. Northbound 405 is bumper to bumper as you leave at SeaTac on 518, pretty much up to Park Drive, and again leaving 520 and heading into parts of Parkland. And now the southbound 5 Drive, well, we've had our fair share of problems, and that lines up from about Northgate through the downtown corridor. If you're headed to the convention center, we had some earlier issues. Those have long since cleared. Then we had some standing water out near the West Seattle Bridge, and I've been told that's been taken care of. Now you're just left with residual backup. Basically, the drive right now over on Highway 18 is quite slow for those of you getting to past Issaquah Hobart Road up to the I-90 merge. That hailstorm did some damage out there, so we're going to see those long delays there, too. Traffic brought to you by Emerald Queen Casino. Welcoming back the Master of Laughter, Sinbad, for one night only, March 24th. Get your tickets now for Sinbad Live at the Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest. Cairo Radio, real-time traffic, and Tracy Taylor.
How would you like to get this year's most...
The preeminent, obvious example of, quote, science being ignored? When he ignores economic science, when he ignores history, he ignores the graves. He ignores the way Stalin began. He ignores Stalin deifying Marx. He ignores this. Now you watch. This guy will never be asked about Venezuela in the press. At least NPR, at least they hit him on this. He'll go for a press tour. He will not be asked about Venezuela. He will not be asked about Cuba. He will not be asked about Maoist China. He might be asked about the Soviet Union. He won't be asked about the purges. He will not be asked about the forceful taking of property. He will not be asked about the Soviet Union going and saying, you're no longer a farmer, you're moving to the city, going to the city and saying, you're no longer a city worker, you're moving to the farms. They won't talk about that. They won't talk about the gulags, the prison systems that became nations on their own. You could be sent there for the suspicion of believing that the gulags existed. You could be sent to the gulags because you said to a friend, I think there's secret prisons. That was against the law. None of that will be brought forward. None of that will be challenged on. And it's so clever that he chooses the window in Marx's world, where he's in England, largely, and in Europe, largely. That's the window. That's the young. Why? Identification purposes. Young people can look up at that and say, I'm like that. I'm frustrated that rich people don't have to work, that business owners don't have to work. They just sit at the top and force everyone else to work. I'm frustrated that capitalism is broken when these kids have never lived under capitalism or anything close to it. The movie is called The Young Karl Marx. You watch what it does for Marx and the way other movies did for Che Guevara. All right, when we come back, I may embarrass myself. In fact, I'm probably going to embarrass myself. It's a personal note like I've never undertaken. I was on the way to work today, and I decided I wanted to listen to some music. I hadn't listened to it in a long time. I was just blown out by what I had discovered about myself and about my history. It's just one of those epiphanies. I'll share that with you next, along with some music from this guy. On a personal note, right now, we'll check traffic with Right Way Traffic, brought to you by the Online Trading Academy.
Plenty of slow traffic to warn you about. Starting up with eastbound I-90. Stop and go from I-5 to the east end of the Mount Baker Tunnel. That after an earlier accident, long gone, but that's why it's so heavy out there. Southbound I-5 is going to be stop and go to from North Gateway, heavy to Union Street. Bellevue, 405 southbound, jams up from Highway 520. Stop and go out towards 44th Street. And a crash being cleared off the Mercer Street off-ramp from northbound I-5. Just watch out. Traffic does bunch up from Albro Place. You're listening to AM 770 KTTH.
Hey, it's Mark Levin, and I have some great news for the greater East Side. You can hear KTTH without it.
Number 4.
I've got a code word for you. When you hear the code word, go to mynorthwest.com/5.
It's going to do it, Ron. Tonight's the code word is house. Head to our show page, mynorthwest.com/5. Fill out the code word and be entered to win tonight's great prize. Don't forget, you have till 8 o'clock to do it. And our thanks to Pacific Ridge Homes at D.R. Horton Company for sponsoring tonight's Top 5 at 5. That's Pacific Ridge Homes.
All right, so we hear a lot about the housing market here in the Puget Sound area. There's a new article, like, once again, it's the fastest growing market in all of America. But there's an interesting study that Redfin did, and they did it nationwide, but it's particularly interesting on the West Coast. They're saying right now, especially markets like Seattle, and it's even worse in markets like LA, there are about a 1/3, 30 to 35% of buyers are putting in their bid and ratcheting up their bid sight unseen. They do not actually physically visit the house. CBS recently talked to some of these buyers.
2 master suites. Eric Rothenberg has been looking for a home in the Seattle area for the past 6 months.
It's great. I love the high ceilings.
He says every time he's ready to bid on a home, there are 5 buyers ahead of him.
I am prepared to get into bidding war, but there's going to be a point where it's going to top out, where I'm going to have to walk away.
Seattle is one of the hottest real estate markets in the country. This is the first master suite. Real estate agent Michael Doyle. I've gotten 10, 12 offers on homes. We've got a very limited supply. So job growth plus limited supply have created the environment that we're in.
Do you think you would ever buy a home without actually physically walking into the door first?
Yeah, I have one. So I have some friends that I buy houses with, and yeah, I don't see the homes, and we invest. They're called REITs, and so I think that this happens a lot. And in Seattle, more than any other market, I think this happens a ton because you have a lot of foreign buyers, right? So in China, for instance, you can buy, well, you can't really buy a house. You can rent real estate for like 99 years. Same here on Indian reservations. You can't really buy a house on Indian reservation. You can rent it for 99 years. So that's similar. So you have a lot of people that are coming over here, and they're buying homes sight unseen. And then a lot of times they'll send family members. Family members will come here, and they'll go to school, or they'll get a job. Some of them will work in the tech industry or other industries. And then eventually more and more of the family members come over. Or what a lot of people have done, and Seattle's cracked down on this, they end up taking these properties and flipping them and Airbnb those properties too. So we've seen quite a bit of that, and that's happened quite a bit too.
Ron and Don's Top 5 at 5. Number 5.
I'm curious if you're going to believe this study or not, though, because you are a fitness guy, you do fitness instruction stuff, and there's a new study out now that claims that if you pick your own playlist for your music, songs like this Katy Perry tune, it can actually cause men, especially men more than women, to take more risks.
Oh boy, go jump off a cliff
during their workouts. So the way the study worked, they had 150 participants.
Rip a groin, rip out your Achilles, do something stupid.
This was at the University of London. They got 150 18 to 35-year-olds, and they broke them into 3 groups. One group got to pick their own playlist, and they were, it was hyped up music. The second group had to listen to a playlist curated by the researchers.
Okay.
The third group got no music whatsoever, and then they all went and did the same athletic feats. And what this study did is they had them play basketball.
Oh.
And so they wanted to see if their accuracy would go up, if their athleticism would go up, if they listened to the hyped up play tracks. And then they got extra points for riskier shots. So if you took a risky shot or a long shot and you made it, it was worth more than just a layup type of shot. And what they found is that the people that were listening to Eminem and just jacked out of their mind that
We're throwing the ball 20 feet over the backboard.
It did not make them more athletic.
I throw it 20 feet over the backboard anyway.
And then B,
or I'm about 20 feet short.
Men and women both take more risk, but men take more risk than women take.
I think basketball's a good idea. I don't. I think it's one. It should be a sport where you're going for time. And let's say that you're going for
endurance.
Yeah, where you're going for a run and you put a headset on and you add some music to it, and I think people are going to run faster. Or if you're on a bicycle and you put music on, I always ride my bike faster when I'm playing 8 Mile. I always do, whether it's indoor or outdoor. I always put the hammer down when I'm listening to.
You take more risk though. Like, would you try to jump over a mailbox?
Well, I take more risk when I'm on my bike because here it's interesting when I ride in the rain, if I ride in a storm. Or if I'm riding in a lot of traffic and I put music on, and usually I won't put 2 buds in, I'll just put 1 in, then I will take more risks in traffic, and I will swing between cars, and I will do things that I normally wouldn't do if I wasn't listening to music and I was paying attention, and it was a beautiful sunny day, and I was just sitting on the handlebars and taking it all in. But for whatever reason, I used to ride in Texas. I used to go out in the middle of the night, and I get on my bicycle, and I had a sag wagon, and my girlfriend at the time would drive my sag wagon. It was Suburban lights all over it. And I would drive down the interstate, and I was trained to race my bike across America, and I would ride in these electrical storms at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning with my shirt off, and I was just fascinated by the fact that I might get hit by lightning. That this just might happen.
That was interesting to you?
Well, and there was no iPods at the time, and so I had a speaker on top of my Suburban, and she would turn the music on and play the music and just blast it toward me as I was riding down the shoulder of the road. And when that music came on, I was just ready to get hit by lightning for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Which is a little crazy. And then when the music was turned off, I would just kind of, sit on my handlebars and ride down the interstate.
It's funny you say that because, like, I don't obviously do that. But, like, there are times when I play poker and sometimes you're bored, you pop the headphones on. If it's an aggressive song, I'm like, I'm all in.
Oh, you are?
I got 8-3 offsuit. Let's do this thing.
You want that dopamine.
Yeah, you just jam it in there because, like, the music's aggressive. You're in the zone.
You like that dopamine hit, don't you?
I do.
You get the same dopamine hit from poker that I get from doing that. Ripping my shirt off
and get your heart pumping.
And heading down the highway.
Competition, like mano a mano. One of us is going to win and get all the money.
Somebody told me in the building that it's kind of interesting while we were gone about your poker prowess.
What did they say?
Well, that you will play, and on purpose, that you will lose small pots, and that you will reel everybody in.
Of course.
And then,
it's a strategy game.
When the big one is on the table, no! Upshaw takes all the... do you really do that?
I'll do any trick I can do.
Upshaw takes all the dough.
Of course.
You really do that?
Yes. Why would you not do that?
They said you could be a pro.
No, I cannot be a pro. I know several pros.
One of the guys next door said you could be a pro.
I know several pros. I would not be a good pro.
Oh.
I'm a solid amateur.
You are?
Yeah.
Oh, anyway.
I'm not a pro.
Speaking of highly Vegas, you're taking
Make me not listen to Eminem when I'm doing it.
I guess you've taken a lot of his money, so. Yeah. Hey, what gives you a dopamine hit? Keep it clean. 98973, your text messages after the top of the hour. It's the Ron and Don Show on Cairo Radio.